48 yards for a touchdown in the Chargers win at San Diego a couple of weeks ago. We're underway in front of 76,000. Elam drives it to Jenkins at the goal line. And he slides down at the 15-yard line. Covered there by George Coggill, and here comes the oldest quarterback, the shortest quarterback starter in the National Football League, the incredible Doug Flutie. There is numbers this year, the big numbers for him throughout his 8 seasons in the NFL, and of course everywhere else he's played. He's a winner as a starter, and in the NFL his record is 35 wins, 17 defeats as a starter. John Butler, the former general manager at Buffalo, acquiring him to be the new quarterback. That's why he came to San Diego. He wasn't going to be a backup. He'd be the starter. It's LaDainian Tomlinson, the rookie, and he's toppled after a gain of 2 by safety Kanoy Kennedy. And here are the Chargers starters on offense. Up front, it's McIntosh, Roundtree, Jay Cox. They praise his work this year. Graham and the veteran Vaughn Parker. In the backfield, the rookie from TCU, LaDainian Tomlinson, the Doak Walker Award winner a year ago. McCrary, the blocker. Graham and Conway, veteran outside receivers. Freddie Jones, one of the top tight ends in the league. Mike Riley in his 3rd season, surviving that 1-15 disaster a year ago. That's McCrary in motion on 2nd and 8. Flutie's first throw complete in the flat to Steve Hayden. Only the 4th catch of the season for Hayden, a 3rd-year tight end out of South Dakota State. Denard Walker, the tackler for the Broncos, and here are the Denver starters on defense. Washington, McLaughlin, Price, the Pro Bowler, and Pittman up front. The linebackers are Mobley, Wilson, and the veteran Bill Romanowski. And in the defensive secondary, Delta O'Neal with 6 interceptions, Brown and Kennedy at safety, and Denard Walker at the other corner. Mike Shanahan in his 7th year, a couple of Super Bowl wins. This is a very big game for the Broncos at 4-4. Flutie throws, deflected, incomplete. That was a 3rd and 1 pass intended for Jeff Graham. Al Wilson got a mitt on it.
A simple post pattern here by Jeff Graham. He just makes his soft break to the inside, but that ball from Flutie was high and way back to the inside. That was an impossible catch. And fortunately for San Diego, even though it was tipped in the air, there was no Bronco there. That could have been an easy pick.
Darren Bent, number 2 kicker in NFL history, his career average, and he drills a beauty. It bombs it to Delta O'Neal at the 15. 25-30. And tackled at the 31-yard line. O'Neal, who has returned a punt and a kickoff for a touchdown in his 2 seasons here in Denver. Here comes Brian Greasy. Greasy, who has thrown more interceptions than he would like. Only 4 last year, 12 this year, but is sharing the lead in touchdowns, 15, with Brett Favre coming into the second half of the season. Out of the University of Michigan, at Oakland on Monday night, had a couple of touchdown throws, but also 2 picks. And he explained that unlike last year, the Broncos have started slowly and they're playing catch-up football, and he's trying to make things happen and has to force some throws.
It's called the loss of Ed McCaffrey.
His first throw is complete to Keith Poole. Poole getting his first start as a Denver Bronco, a 4th-round pick by New Orleans out of Arizona State in '97. Front 5, Teague, Friedman, Pro Bowler Tom Nalen, Neal, and Lepsis. And in the backfield, Terrell Davis, one of the most popular players in the league. Carter's the blocker. Rod Smith, 67 catches already. Poole his first start, and Dwayne Carswell, the tight end.
And Poole taking the place there of Eddie Kennison, and you heard with that surprise announcement that he just didn't want to play anymore.
2nd down and 6, and the pass to Terrell Davis is off his fingertips in front of safety man Rogers Beckett. The Chargers defensively, and that has been their strength even in losing seasons. Marcellus Wiley, what a pickup. He has 7.5 sacks. Carson, Perrella in the middle, and Rayleigh Johnson with 5.5 sacks. Dixon Ruffin, 10 consecutive Pro Bowls. Junior Seau. Tay Cody from Florida State, a rookie, and Ryan McNeil. He has 6 interceptions. Beckett and tough hitting Rodney Harrison at safety. On 3rd down and 6. The throw complete. Tony Carter, a rare play designed for Carter, who has only 3 catches all season. That one good for a first down. Ruff made the tackle.
Well, that was a third down brought about by the fact that Terrell Davis dropped the football. It was a good throw by Greasy and another accurate throw by Bryan. And that's just a good possession route to the receiving fullback, Tony Carter. Again, they're still working, trying to compensate for the loss of Howard Griffith, who's been such a wonderful fullback for the Broncos for years. His career over.
Terrell Davis across the 50 and into Charger territory with a good gain on first down. Beckett, who played his football at Marshall, made the tackle.
Did you see Rodney Harrison kind of slap Terrell Davis up on the helmet? That was a welcome back to Terrell Davis, who was telling us in the Monday night game against Oakland, contrary to what you hear about the Raiders, that a lot of them were saying, welcome back, Terrell. It's great to see you on the field. Lots of pats on the back. It really touched him. He felt, he felt that the guys really were glad to see him back.
Second and a short 5. And whoa, is Davis hammered as he tries the left side as Gerald Dixon at linebacker filled the hole.
Now that's what happens after the greetings are over. We're glad you're back, but we're going to hit you as hard as we possibly can. Absolutely nothing there for Terrell Davis. But again, what's key for the Broncos here is that Davis had the arthroscopic surgery on September the 20th, and he seems to have no effects from that surgery whatsoever. He feels good. He's practicing. Doesn't have a lot of swelling. This would be a much-needed addition as Orlando Ruff, you see, heads off the field, the starting middle linebacker for the Chargers.
Ruff shaken up on that last play, and the Chargers come in with a defensive back.
That was a huge collision right in the middle of the line of scrimmage, and big people bouncing off of big people, and it looks like Orlando a little shaken up.
Third down and 5. Alex Molden, the extra cornerback in. Greasy wide open. In the flat to the 40 and the 30 goes Scotty Montgomery. And Montgomery, who played his college ball at Duke, has his 3rd catch of the entire year. Kennison's gone, but Poole and Montgomery replacing him with 2 big plays already.
Well, they catch San Diego in a blitz and some defensive confusion. Rodney Harrison blitzed from the other side of the field. And as you can tell, a defensive blow in coverage. You don't leave anybody that wide open. They had the overload and the blitz coming from the opposite side. And Montgomery must have been startled, Dick, to find himself that wide open.
23-yard play, and the Broncos starting with a strong drive at the 24 of San Diego. Greasy over the middle, complete again. Terrell Davis, and he's tackled by John Holisek, the former Buffalo Bill, one of 5 former Bills on the San Diego roster.
Well, you can't start much sharper than Brian Greasy is in his delivery of the football. Every pass that he has thrown has been right on the hands of his receivers. His guys are getting open. And it's kind of contrary to what we thought. We thought we'd see an awful lot of Terrell Davis early, trying to establish a running game. It's just Rod Smith has been the receiving game for Denver, but they're doing a good job of spreading it around.
Second and 3, Davis burrowing inside the 15 and close to a first down at the Charger 14-yard line.
It was one of the things that Brian Greasy, again, talking about those interceptions, saying, you know, there have been times that I've had to force the football because I really haven't had a choice but to try to get it to Rod Smith. Without McCaffrey, you know, let's face it, Kennison wasn't getting it done. He quit last night, but he just was not a factor for the Broncos. And so Brian Greasy's had to take chances. That's why Rod Smith has 67 catches, but a lot of those came, there were some interceptions involved because Brian had no other choice.
3rd and inches, and Greasy easily sneaks it for the first down. Well, Rod Smith, with all those catches, 67, the most ever in the NFL at the midpoint of a season. And perhaps Mike Shanahan's game plan, Dan, is to go away from Rod Smith, figuring that the Chargers are going to double team him.
Well, he figured right, because they are going to double team him. Take a look at this, at the record that he has, 7 receptions, more than J.T. Smith and Chris Carter had at the halfway points of their respective seasons. I never thought I would see a receiver with 67 catches in 8 games.
Terrell Davis And he battles his way close to the 10-yard line on the first down carry with Junior Seau riding him down on the tackle. Seau, who has not been 100% the last couple games with a groin injury, but did practice all this week. Some of his teammates did not. Rodney Harrison with an ankle didn't practice till Friday. Freddie Jones, the tight end, an ankle. He too did not work out till Friday. But this is the time of the year where every team's got a list of characters who barely get ready for Sunday. On second and long, Greasy stepping up and then is belted down. Gerald Dixon along with John Holisek to make the tackle, and Mike Mooring was there as well.
Well, Brian Greasy, who's got a sore shoulder and some sore ribs and a lot of other ailments, I'm sure he could have done without this, because he takes a pretty good pop. When he's forced to go up to the middle, he doesn't have a chance to hook slide. He has no choice but to go to the ground head first, and as a quarterback, you have no protection when you go that way.
A loss of a couple of yards, so 3rd and 11 at the 14. Greasy gets away from pressure. Wiley couldn't get him. Now the throw complete on the sidelines, and breaking a tackle, and finally brought down is Desmond Clark, the 255-pound tight end from Wake Forest. The Chargers had him 5 yards upfield. He almost broke it into the end zone.
This was a wonderful job. Marcellus Wiley is the guy who forces Brian Greasy out of the pocket. He got around Lepsis, and I didn't think Brian was going to find. Right here, though, go upfield. He makes that decision, Clark does, to go parallel to the line of scrimmage, trying to make the big play, and he comes up a couple of yards short.
There's a timeout. Elam about to try a short field goal for the early lead. And welcome back. And the injury is to one of the Chargers' outstanding players, safety man Rodney Harrison, and both teams have left the field for the moment, so that hints of it being a serious injury.
Rodney Harrison in, attempting to make the tackle. Here he is right here, number 37. You can see he gets a leg caught in an awkward position, and he tries to get up. He starts to get up, but then goes back down. It's really tough. Nothing really looks obvious there, Dick. We'll just have to wait and see, but this is more than just a minor occurrence to Rodney Harrison, the way, at least that's what you surmise when you look at the actions of the training staff.
Yeah, both teams leaving the field to go to their respective sidelines. As yet, they're late certainly getting a stretcher or some other device out there to assist him.
He's had a bad ankle, and it's limited, as you mentioned earlier, it's limited his practice time.
One of the toughest competitors in the league, and
well,
in fact, Shanahan himself said he should be considered one of the great safeties in NFL history. That's the admiration that the Denver coach has for Harrison's talent.
Well, he's their leading tackler, and as you can see, they're bringing the cart out on the field to take Rodney Harrison into the locker room.
He is conscious, and you saw him moving his hands. Let's take another angle.
Harrison should come in here from the left. That's him just coming in from behind.
His own man gets him.
Yeah, he has to awkwardly try to go over some bodies that are down at his feet, and obviously not wanting to put anything on his left foot. Yeah, this is a real shame for the Chargers. Their leading tackler and their leader in the secondary, Rodney Harrison.
Harrison, who made the Pro Bowl in '98, and last year, only because the Chargers were 1-15, how could he not have made it? All he did last year was have 6 interceptions to lead the team, 6 sacks, and 127 tackles to lead the team, and yet didn't make it to Honolulu. But when you're as bad as the Chargers were a year ago, very little consideration. Junior Seau was their representative.
Yeah, not many people from a 1-15 football team get postseason recognition. You have to be a Junior Seau, a guy who's just so head and shoulders above everybody else that regardless of how poorly your team plays, you're going to go. Of course, that was Junior's 10th in a row. Pretty good run.
And Junior, who is so close to Harrison, they certainly are the muscle and the veteran experience and the toughness of that Charger defense. that has been outstanding through the years. They were, even last year, second in the NFL against the rush, allowed only 3 yards per carry, Baltimore being number 1, and Harrison off to the...
And listen to the round of applause. You think these fans here in Denver don't know football? They're acknowledging that even though he plays for the opposition, they still have respect for a player of his caliber.
Well, as soon as Bonnie Bernstein can get us an official report, of course, you'll hear the full details. Jason Perry, number 31, will replace Harrison, if you can replace him. And now Elam to try the short field goal, 25 yards. And the Broncos have the early lead, 3-0, with 5:45 remaining in this opening quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 36. IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. And by Saturn, now with 2 distinctively different car lines, the L Series and S Series.
Back at Invesco Field at Mile High, as Brian Greasy's sharp passing and some key runs by Terrell Davis take the Broncos 62 yards. They settle for the 25-yard field goal, and now Elam to kick to Terrell Fletcher and Ronnie Jenkins. He gets into this one, sending Jenkins into the end zone, where he'll be forced to take the touchback at the 20. First quarter in the Mile High City, and the Broncos with the early lead. Back in Denver with a reminder tonight on CBS. Don't miss the I Love Lucy 50th anniversary special. Never before seen footage and a countdown of the top 10 funniest episodes. Why don't you join some of Hollywood's biggest stars? They share their favorite Lucy memories on the I Love Lucy 50th anniversary special tonight on CBS. And log on to NFL.com. Vote for the AFC NFC All-Stars to play in the 2002 Pro Bowl. Log your vote. NFL.com. AOL keyword NFL.com. First down from the 20, and it's Tomlinson darting through a hole, and a gain of nearly 9 before Al Wilson can trip him up with an assist to Chester McLaughlin. LaDainian Tomlinson.
Boy, that was a good-looking play. Good ball action by Doug Flutie as he makes the fake, and then the counter back the other direction. Norv Turner, of course, the new offensive coordinator for the San Diego Chargers. There's so much new about this football team. New running back, new quarterback, new coordinator, and obviously new results at 5-3.
He was the 5th player selected in last year's draft, and he takes it again for a first down across the 30. And talking with him yesterday, the young man, he's 22, has a great smile and a kid's giggle, and yet he is so mature in the way he presents himself.
Well, he's going to have to be mature, Dick, because as he moves into the second half of the season, he's no surprise anymore. You know, he had over 100 yards in 3 out of his first 4 games, and then he hasn't had one in over a month. So LaDainian Tomlinson is he's a known commodity now. Guys are gearing up for him.
He says those dudes are walking up from safety and getting it. It's a draw to Tomlinson. He able to make something out of nothing to the 37-yard line, where Romanowski and Wilson make the tackle. And speaking of Romanowski, he said in their first game, Romo, he said he was shouting at me all the time. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he was sure making a lot of noise at me.
He said we were in our huddle, and he was over in his huddle, and he was yelling at me the whole time. And he said, of course, you see Romo's wearing a mouthpiece. That may have had something to do with the fact that he was unintelligible. But LaDainian said, I never did find out what he was saying. Assume it wasn't good.
And Tomlinson getting carry after carry across the 40 to the 41, a couple of yards shy of a first down. Tomlinson, who leads all the rookie running backs thus far in the NFL, with 651 yards rushing, and is tied with 8 touchdowns for the lead. And Anthony Thomas, the 8 train for the Bears, making his presence known after a non-starter early this year.
And, of course, both of their respective teams having remarkable turnarounds this season. 3rd and 2, Tomlinson, and this has been the problem for the Chargers. They're able to move the ball 1st and 2nd down, but on 3rd and short or in goal line situations, Tomlinson has been stuffed. Well, stuffed was right. And you see they've got a bubble there to the right side. You see the lead block coming in. The lead block is very effective by Fred McCrary, but by the time Tomlinson gets to the hole closes. And that has been a real detriment for the Chargers so far this season. And they needed a good drive because the Denver offense had a very, very good first possession, and they're going to have to make up for the absence now of Rodney Harrison defensively.
Darren Bennett, his first punt was 62 yards, his longest of the year. Deltha O'Neal forced to call a fair catch, lets it go. It takes a Charger bounce and will be down to first touched at the 5-yard line. So another excellent kick by the All-Pro punter of the Chargers, Darren Bennett.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Be you, nothing's better. Dr. Pepper. And by GMC. From professional-grade people come professional-grade trucks.
The usual sellout crowd here in Denver for some 31 consecutive years, counting playoffs over 250 straight games. Sold out, 76,000 here at the new arena. 3:12 left, opening quarter. Denver by a field goal, starting at the 6-yard line. Davis. And he fights forward to the 10-yard line. And Junior Seau with a tackle as we go to Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Dick, right now the Chargers are diagnosing Rodney Harrison's injury as a left knee bruise. They promised us more details before the half. But, Dan, you were mentioning how integral a part of the defense Harrison is because he's the team's leading tackler. Curiously, the top 3 leading tacklers on the Chargers are all defensive backs.
Yeah, they are, and it's not. And especially it's kind of an anomaly, given the fact that they're the 9th best defense in the National Football League. Those numbers don't jive.
Davis able to kick free from a couple of tacklers and close to a first down as he hits the 15-yard line to make it 3rd down and 1. Well, Davis says that he loves Saturdays. He loves Saturdays because that's sleep day. You know, ever since he's been a rookie, that's been his common theme. He says he's got to get 12 hours a day, and for him, a power nap is 3 hours.
He said he can actually lie down at night, go to sleep at 7 o'clock, get up at 10 o'clock, have something to eat, go back to bed again at midnight, and sleep till 9 o'clock the next morning. Now, that's a sleeping machine.
And he drives off the right side again and appears to have enough for a first down. Junior Seau there to greet him, and Davis is slow getting up. He's got the first down. Of course, Mike Anderson in reserve of Davis. Landis Gary is not active today.
Well, of course, Terrell Davis with outstanding speed in the open field, but as everybody knows, he's a guy capable of wonderful power. He was following Tony Carter that time and took advantage of the fact that Carter got a good lead block, but Carter was the guy that was a little stunned after that.
Mike Anderson now in a tailback, and he gets the handoff, spins out of a tackle, and then is bumped rudely by John Holisek at the 20-yard line.
Well, of course, everybody knows that there's 3 outstanding running backs here in the Bronco organization with Terrell Davis, Mike Anderson, and Olandis Gary. Olandis Gary not suited up for this game as he's not a major contributor on special teams, so it's Anderson and Davis that'll share the running back duties. But all 3 of those guys have had 1,000-yard seasons to their credit. Talk about a luxury, Dick. Not well, Mike Shanahan he can go deep, deep, deep on the depth chart.
Greasy on 2nd and 7.
Oh, and they handled the blitz. Here go back.
Almost intercepted as flying across the field was Tay Cody and Rogers Beckett.
Boy, they all come flying right up into the middle, and they get blocked. Take a look at everybody looping in. We're going to see loops from all directions here, but it's really picked up pretty well. Junior's met right at the line. Brian Greasy kind of floats out of the pocket on his own. He's not really flushed, but credit the Chargers secondary. They really didn't give him a target.
Oh, 3rd down and 7. There's Rogers Beckett. In his 2nd season was a number 2 round pick a year ago. He's their 2nd leading tackler. Empty backfield.
Here they come again.
And the throw is incomplete, intended for Scotty Montgomery. And the Broncos will have to punt. Leonardo Carson applying pressure on Greasy.
Well, they're going to walk right up in the middle, and they're going to penetrate. They're going to try to blitz both gaps on either side of the center. Take a look at it right there. But again, pretty well picked up. You got to leave somebody alone. Everybody made the adjustment, but the ball just a little bit to the outside. Brian having to throw it, falling backwards, just delivers one a little low and away.
Tom Ruin, who leads the NFL in average, 47.3 yards. Reggie Jones is the man to return for San Diego. He is a new kick returner. Good kick by Ruin. Jones fumbles the ball. He's a former track man, Olympic class jumper at LSU, and that is his first attempted return this year. Almost a disaster for San Diego.
Reggie Jones staring into a very bright sky, not directly into the sun, but you'd have to think it's a factor as he's right there and he muffs the punt, has it go right through his arms, and fortunately nobody from Denver was close enough to scoop it up right away.
Tim Dwight, who has been returning punts and is one of the best in the league, collapsed lung in the game against Kansas City last week, so he is not going to be in uniform today. Flutie, all kinds of time, now flips one to Tomlinson, incomplete at the 23. He looked deep, but good coverage by the Broncos secondary.
Well, Doug Flutie, I think, even fakes out Ladanian with his scramble up the field. Looks like he's going to take off with it, chucks it sidearm, and it kind of floats on him a little bit. Anytime you throw that ball sidearm, it has a tendency sometimes to rise, and that's exactly what it did. It just floated right over the top of Tomlinson.
9 seconds left in this opening quarter. Tomlinson on the final play of the quarter out to the 23-yard line. And that is the end of the first period here in Denver, with the Broncos leading the San Diego Chargers 3-0. And we'll return to Invesco Field at Mile High in Denver right after this message. Back in Denver for the second quarter, and a reminder for the best NFL coverage on the net, including expert analysis and live scoreboards. Go to cbs.sportsline.com or AOL keyword CBS Sportsline. First play of the second period, 3rd down and 5. Chargers at their own 23. Flutie, the quick throw, complete at the 33-yard line to Jeff Graham. No, it's Curtis Conway. Conway, who leads the Chargers with his 35th catch of the year.
Boy, and this time the Broncos are throwing a little different look. They're going to roll back into a little bit of a zone blitz look. You saw Bertrand Berry get all the way back out into the flat. He's a defensive end, but Doug Flutie with a very sharp strike to Conway. That was into good coverage, but just a pinpoint pass.
On first down, into the flat, complete to Reggie Jones. And Jones, only his 3rd catch of the season, as he has become the number 3 receiver, as well as the punt returner for Tim Dwight. He, at LSU, did not play any college football, but was world-class triple jumper, 57 feet, and long jump, 26 and a half. He probably would have been Olympian had he elected to continue with his track career.
Yeah, he's a second-year player in this league, but he's 30. That's unusual combination.
NFL Europe and CFL to learn the trade. On second down, the deep out, incomplete. Jeff Graham was the target. Good coverage from Delta O'Neill.
And John Mobley was underneath, forcing Flutie to kind of go over the top on it. This is just strictly zone coverage. You see the help's going to come in from underneath. John Mobley is inside. He forces Doug Flutie. There's Mobley just coming into the picture there. And I think Doug, at the last minute, decided, I'm better off just elevating that baby and throwing it into the bench.
What did Flutie tell us yesterday? He's never held the ball so long in his career.
Yeah, Norv Turner likes deeper patterns. He likes deep crossing routes. They like to go vertical.
On third down, the quick throw is complete to Jones, but it is short of the first down.
Well, it's great to come back to the football, but as a receiver, you got to have some awareness of where you have to catch the football to continue the drive. So and Reggie Jones just ran a pattern that was woefully short.
In fact, 3 yards short of the first down. Bennett with 2 solid kicks, 52 and 62 yards. O'Neal stands inside the 15. And the former Australian rule star sends it to the goal line and into the end zone. Broncos will start at their 20-yard line when we come back with a 3-0 lead. Battle here in the AFC West. Back in the Mile High City, and Tuesday on CBS, the one and only Michael Jackson reunites with his brothers for the first time in nearly 20 years and performs with today's biggest stars. Don't miss Michael Jackson's 30th anniversary celebration. And Terrell Davis trying to help the Broncos celebrate a much-needed victory today. Gains nearly 6 on first down. Seau was there first.
Well, Brian Griese had a busy first quarter getting the football to a lot of different people. There he catches Tony Carter coming across on a crossing pattern. This time he works it outside to Scotty Montgomery. And again, there's Terrell Davis working to the inside, and then on the sideline, he finds Desmond Clark. Interestingly enough, the leading receiver in the NFL, that guy right there, not a catch.
On second down and a short 5, Terrell Davis picks up 7 yards before John Perella can traverse and make the tackle. And that is the Terrell Davis of old.
Well, it's Terrell Davis of old, Dick, operating behind outstanding blocking. And Rod Smith, you see him get the block on Junior Seau. He pinned Seau to the inside and actually got that play started. Then Lepsis was able to come around the corner. Rod Smith, such a complete football player, a good, outstanding blocker, and isn't it wonderful to see Terrell Davis back? He'll never be exactly what he was, but it looks good enough for now.
31 yards so far. Griese plenty of time and throws incomplete. It was intended for Keith Poole, but Ryan McNeil, and they're respecting McNeil, although he was isolated on man coverage. He has 6 interceptions. He's tied for the NFL league with Deltha O'Neal of these Broncos and Doug Evans of Carolina, and working on the old-time San Diego record of 9, which happens to be held by another McNeil. Remember, you old-timers, Charlie McNeil, back in 1961, had 9 picks. There's Rod Smith, and he's got running room. He may go all the way. Oh, he trips up and goes down at the 36-yard line. John Perella was able to hustle back and get a hand on him.
What a play by a defensive tackle to get downfield and save a touchdown. That's exactly what John... First of all, it's a blitz. Junior comes in untouched. What a perfect call. A screen pass away from the blitz. That is just a piece of good fortune for the Broncos. And watch Perella. Now you got to blitz up the middle. This is a wonderful call. And then when Rod breaks it back to the middle, Perella, boy, that was a sure touchdown.
Now on first down, Terrell Davis, and he's in the open and has another first down to the 26 before McNeil and Perry in the secondary can make the stop.
Boy, Gary Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, he is calling an outstanding game to this point in time, in conjunction, of course, with Mike Shanahan. Look at Terrell Davis, but the key there, you notice, no penetration upfield by the Chargers. Terrell Davis has all the time in the world to read the defense. And there's Gary Kubiak, who just a couple weeks ago moved from the booth down to the field, where he's doing his offensive coordinator job at field level.
First down, Davis. Not much there that time as Gerald Dixon, the veteran from South Carolina, able to make the tackle.
Yeah, right now the Chargers have to talk about in their defensive huddle of getting upfield, getting some penetration. We've seen Terrell Davis floating behind the line of scrimmage, able to read the defense and able to find his lane and make his cut. As a defense, you've got to dictate. You've got to alter where that running back wants to go by getting upfield. The Chargers aren't doing that.
You see John Holsek is in for the injured Orlando Ruff at middle linebacker. Wide open is Smith. And he's to the 15-yard line, another first down. What a drive that started back at the Denver 20.
Just a simple little pattern out of the slot. Right here, take a peek right there at Rod Smith. Just a simple pattern. The downfield route clears the area. And it's just, right now, you see a Denver offense that's taking advantage of San Diego's blitzing. They're just getting the dinks and the dunks, but they are looking very confident.
Leading 3-0 here in the second quarter. 9.5 minutes to play. Davis. No, it's a fake, and now Greasy has to throw it away. And he was fortunate. He was able to drop it between 3 Charger defenders.
That will be in the meeting this week. Mike Shanahan will just look over at Brian and look at him and say, Brian, what were you thinking about? What were you thinking about on that one? You don't toss one like that into traffic falling off your back foot. Whoa. And that is way beyond the 5-yard limit where it's legal to hit a receiver. San Diego very fortunate to get away without a penalty.
Ryan McNeil. Draw. And Davis tripped up. That was a play that terrorized San Diego last week when Kansas City's Priest Holmes gained more yards rushing than any player against San Diego in their history. 181 yards, and a lot of them came on draws.
And Kansas City went over 200. They had 201 for the game, and anytime something like that happened, and keep in mind, this was a defensive team that was only allowing 81 yards a game prior to that, so they were a little shell-shocked. I'm suspecting they had a pretty fast-paced week of practice.
Timeout, Denver.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. The United States Marine Corps. For 226 years of faithful service, thank you, Marines. Happy birthday. And by Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
Back in Denver where the Broncos threatened to add to their 3-0 lead. Jay, you Garth Brooks fans, mark down Wednesday night on CBS, a one-of-a-kind concert event, live coast to coast, Wednesday on CBS. Broncos with the ball at the Charger 14-yard line on this magnificent November Sunday in Denver.
Snowstorms are due any moment, aren't they?
Where are they? As Greasy drops back deep and looking to the end zone, and he hits Terrell Davis just as he was hit. Junior Seau made the tackle, and Marcellus Wiley leveled Greasy as he released the ball.
Boy, though, it's not that Brian didn't have time to look downfield. He plants his feet, he sets, he sets, he sets. That is just nothing short of superior work defensively by the Chargers. And you're right, Brian takes a big shot, but you can't stand in the pocket for 6 or 7 seconds without taking a big hit. It's going to come eventually.
Elam, who made good on a short 25-yarder. This one is 29 yards out of Ruin's hole. And he's 2 for 2. A couple of field goals for the Broncos, and Mike Shanahan's team has a 6-0 advantage. Follow all the games on NFL.com, and after the games get in-depth analysis, recaps from the experts only at NFL.com or AOL keyword NFL.com.
Well, right now for the Broncos, Dick, the good news is for a nice change of pace, they're getting to play with the lead. Another long drive for a field goal, but the last 4 weeks, they've been behind 17-0, 13-0, 10-0, and 7-0, and they've lost 3 of those 4 games.
Ronnie Jenkins, always a threat on kick returns, but well covered by Denver at the 21-yard line. Good tackle by Keith Burns, a veteran special teamer and linebacker. Insured San Diego Charger on the play. As you look at Burns covering the kick.
See if we can see who gets hurt here at the very end.
Jenkins, I believe, the ball carrier. And they're already without Tim Dwight, their punt returner, and Jenkins, who has been spectacular at times on kick returns. Touchdown last year. He's had a touchdown against Denver on a kickoff return this year, and he's down. 88 yards is a trip in San Diego for the...
His head, first of all, hits the field hard, right here. Watch it bounce off the turf right there. But then the momentum of the pile awkwardly bends his neck. Oh, Lord. Look at that.
Lee Woodall coming in second man on the hit. And fortunately, he's okay.
Wow. I haven't seen someone get their neck twisted at an angle like that in a long time.
Jenkins, who was a free agent, undrafted last year, started at Brigham Young and finished his career at Northern Arizona, and he is a terrific pickup for San Diego, and fortunately he's okay.
A fortunate young man right now.
Trailing 6-0 here in the second quarter, about the midpoint of this period, and Flutie to pass on first down. Down the middle has Graham wide open, and he dropped the ball. He was clear by 4 or 5 yards.
Boy, you don't get many chances to gobble up yardage like this, as Jeff Graham is going to make his break to the inside. He really ran Denard Walker back off the football. And boy, you just don't get that many chances in this league to do it. And he wasn't going to get hit. There was nobody to the inside. No reason to take your eye off the ball. It was a little low. It was a little low. Doug would have liked to have raised that ball maybe 2 feet. But Graham's got to catch that.
Tomlinson in motion, empty backfield. Flutie second and 10. He's going deep for Conway, and Conway drops it at the Denver 47-yard line, broken up by Kenoy Kennedy, but Conway did have his hands on it.
Well, Kennedy and Conway are just side by side, and at the last minute, Curtis gets looks like a little push off to get some separation from Kennedy. As the ball's underthrown, he gets both hands on it. It looked like Kennedy might have gotten his left hand on the ball. Let's see, does Kennedy touch the ball with his left hand? He might have knocked it out of the hands of Curtis Conway.
Well, a couple of chances for long gainers from Flutie, but 3rd and 10 is the call. Steps up, tosses, complete to Terrell Fletcher. The 3rd down back has a first down at the 34-yard line with his first reception of the game. Good all-purpose player, this guy, 7th-year veteran out of Wisconsin.
Well, if this one gets dropped, Doug Flutie might have gone over and had a major chew-out session with his receivers. So I guess in this case, the 3rd time was the charm, going to Terrell Fletcher to pick up the first down.
Last 5 years, Fletcher has averaged 44 yards, 44 catches a season.
And I think Fletcher is shaken up, Dick.
That's the man that they're offering attention. And
been a tough first half here for San Diego.
Disastrous. They've lost Rodney Harrison, their top player in the secondary, with apparently an injured ankle, re-injury. They've Ronnie Jenkins fortunate to go off under his own power, and Fletcher needing assistance to lead the field.
And of course, Fletcher and Jenkins, their backup running backs behind LaDainian Tomlinson. There's some serious depth problems now on the San Diego sideline.
Well, they've got McCrary and Harris, 2 fullbacks, and only Tomlinson now that seems to be healthy.
Let's look at the feet. Oh, you can see where he gets his right ankle, and then his left ankle, for that matter, caught underneath on the tackle. Ian Gold, the linebacker for Denver, rolled across the back of both of them.
First down. Tomlinson has a hole, and he sprints out across the 40 to the 42, and you can see why they are so excited about this young runner for San Diego. Does he break quickly?
Really, he's got some burst, doesn't he? He has really got some. Of course, this is good blocking at the point of attack. He gets a great block from Raleigh Roundtree, his left guard. Damian McIntosh, the left tackle, runs his guy upfield. Kendall Jaycox, the center, who's really been having a good season. And no surprise that John Mobley ends up making the tackle for Denver. He's their leading tackle.
Tomlinson again in the big hole. The 50, 45, and hit there by Al Wilson, but another first down for the Chargers. Their best drive of this game.
Well, that's a textbook tackle. Now that is a picture-perfect job of breaking down and putting a tackle on a guy. Unfortunately for Denver, it came about 12 yards downfield. But look at Al Wilson drive in, pick up the ball carrier rather, and drive him backward. But again, great blocking.
Tomlinson now with 50 yards rushing on 9 carries. 13 on that one. Flutie, look at the time he has. Nobody open. So he's going to scamper to the sideline and duck out of bounds at the 45-yard line. No gain on the play.
Not often in the National Football League that a quarterback gets to look downfield for that long and can't find anybody open. Let's look at it from up top. He's only got 2 receivers going downfield, and you see they are really well covered. And, you know, that's a veteran quarterback. Even at 39, Doug's not afraid to take off. Somehow those Jets haven't aged.
He says, I think I'm still around 4.5. It's just that everyone else has gotten faster.
How's it possible?
The 39-year-old has to spend a timeout to his frustration. Chargers have 2 left.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV, the #1 digital satellite entertainment provider, and by Gateway, where you've got a friend in the business.
That's Terrell Fletcher, and they're working on an injured ankle. Meanwhile, Ronnie Jenkins, sprained neck, but they say Jenkins can play, will return. Freddie Jones, their top tight end, an ankle injury, didn't practice much all week, and we haven't seen much of Jones, and they miss his contribution. Steve Hyden at tight end. 2nd and 10 for Flutie, under pressure. Throws, almost intercepted. Jeff Graham with Eric Brown cutting in front of Graham, and it appeared that he was going to pick it off.
Well, that time LaDainian Tomlinson was forced to be a pass blocker. And he really gave Doug Flutie enough time. He hit John Mobley hard enough to give Doug a chance to react, get outside. But I don't think Doug's very happy with the throw. Watch Tomlinson there on the right. Boy, that was some collision between the two. But Doug got nothing on this ball. There it is again right in front of him. But Doug's up in the air kind of when he throws that thing. Doesn't get nearly enough on it. And very fortunate not to be picked off.
3rd and 10, and Freddie Jones, the tight end, is in there. And Flutie might be looking for him, but he can't find him. He's thrown down for a big loss by Trevor Price, who has made the Pro Bowl the last 2 seasons.
Well, there are many sacks, and there are monster sacks. That's a monster sack. Running a game on the other side, Trevor Price just blows right between Domingo Graham and Vaughn Parker and has enough of a burst, and this is why he's been a 2-time Pro Bowler. Doug Flutie runs away from an awful lot of people around the corner like that, and you wouldn't expect a 300-pound defensive tackle to close the gap like that.
Price with his 5th sack to lead the Broncos, and an 18-yard loss, so Bennett in to punt. Delta O'Neal back at the 15.
18-yard sack is a lot.
O'Neal gambles, and it pays off initially, and then he's wrapped up at the 22-23-yard line. Tackle made by number 53, Deion Humphrey of the Chargers. 48-yard punt, 8 on the return, and Terrell Fletcher being held back to the Charger locker room. They've had a rash of sprained ankles. LaDainian Tomlinson didn't practice this past week much with a bad ankle. He was in a boot when I saw him Thursday at the San Diego practice. CBS Thursday, old alliances shattered. Survivor game rocked. Now the competition intensified. All new Survivor Africa Thursday on CBS.
Survivor applies to the Chargers right now.
Quick pass complete to Desmond Clark, the tight end. Wrapped up by Rogers Beckett inside the 30-yard line. So it'll be 2nd down and about 4. Patrick Hape is doing the blocking duties in the backfield at times now with Tony Carter. He went off for Denver in the 1st quarter. Mike Shanahan saying that he'll use a lot of 1 wide receiver, Rod Smith, and 3 tight ends. That's Dwayne Carswell, a tight end in motion. Davis running right behind that block, has a 1st down at the 34. Gerald Dixon makes the tackle. 3:47 left. 1st half, Denver leads by a pair of field goals.
This is what Mike Shanahan really wanted to see this week. He wanted to see Terrell Davis, and he wanted to see power football. Great blocking out front that time by Lenny Friedman. Trey Teague, the left tackle. That's time. When you've got the San Diego guys making their initial contact 4 and 5 yards downfield, that's because there's a wonderful surge at the point of attack by the offensive line.
Rod Smith in motion. And then they throw back behind him in the flat to Davis. Couple of clever moves, and he's to the 44 near another first down before rookie Tay Cody can make the stop.
Well, so disappointing for Terrell Davis. You know, he ran for over 100 yards in that opener against the Giants, and then he hurt his knee. And he was telling us, I'm just so tired of rehabbing. I'm so tired of always being in the training room, of constantly having to get here early to work on this and work on that. It's so enlightening and so refreshing for him to be back. He's had an anvil taken off of his back.
12th game in the last 42 for Davis. He called it a rehab marathon. Gracie underneath, off the chest of wide open Chris Cole was crossing. Cole seeing more duty. Again, if you joined us late, Eddie Kennison, who had been starting in place of the injured Ed McCaffrey. McCaffrey breaking a leg in the opener against the Giants, and Kennison last night announcing that he just didn't have the heart to continue to play. So we're seeing some less familiar names on the receiving end of greasy passes today.
And let's be serious, that's something you don't see very often. A guy who's a starter for a team walking in at the midpoint of the season and saying, especially the night before a game, talk about walking out on your teammates. That's it doesn't get much worse than that.
Davis trying the right side. No, this is Mike Anderson, who gets a call with Davis being given a breather, and he's out to the 50-yard line and almost 6 yards on that carry.
You know, you don't want to be too harsh on Eddie Kennison, Dick, but if you're going to quit in the middle of the season, quit on Monday, so the team can at least have somebody take all the reps during the week.
Absolutely.
He's a starting receiver. He takes all the reps during practice all week long, and then on Saturday night takes a hike.
There's
Ed McCaffrey.
How they miss him. Don't they miss that talent? 2-minute warning, first half. Another Charger heading for emergency attention. Denver has dominated the game, possession time, yet they lead only 6-0.
Yeah, well, and the one big plus for Denver has to be that they were so disappointed in the play of their defense against the Raiders.
Right.
And Mike Shanahan said, I'm going to be more involved. And they have seen a very strong defensive performance here in the first half. They've got another chance to score here before we get to the halftime. So all in all, you'd have to say Denver's got to be pretty pleased with where they are right now.
Shanahan said, I'm not going to call the defenses, but I want to suggest things that would give my offense trouble. It should be troublesome to their opponents. At the 50-yard line, Greasy to throw. And wide open is the tight end, Desmond Clark. And Clark, who was a wide receiver at Wake Forest, a big wide receiver to be sure, at 225 pounds, and set the Wake Forest record, 216 catches. And they saw things in Clark as he makes this catch that they found in Shannon Sharp. And he's added 30 pounds, so he's quite a target.
Well, and even to be, you know, let's face it, every tight end who plays in Denver for the next 20 years is going to be playing in the shadow of what Shannon Sharp accomplished here. But Desmond Clark, he's a player.
Sorry, he was third in tight end catches so far this year behind Sharp, who leads, and Tony Gonzalez. So that's elite company. Denver will spend its second timeout to stop the clock. 1:21 remaining before the intermission. Some mighty interesting action again in this National Football League on this Sunday, and you'll get all the news on the Nextel halftime report from Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry. All the scores and highlights of the first game, the latest NFL news, plus a CBS News update. America fights back.
I don't want to talk about a no-hitter or something, Dick, and jinx it, but we haven't had a penalty yet in this game.
No wonder it seems fast-paced. Greasy looking deep, throws down the middle, wide open Smith. And he has a first down inside the Charger 20-yard line. Rogers Beckett finally secured the tackle. And Greasy is going to call another timeout, and that will be the third and last for Denver.
That's a strange time to take a timeout. Why would he? He had plenty of time to get up to the football and...
Did he get hit as he delivered the ball? Well, somewhat, but as John Perella put the pressure on.
I guess figuring that he was on the ground, the amount of time it would take me to get down there, that I'll go ahead and take it now. But it's just always nice to have that one timeout in the bank. And in case you have to get your field goal team out onto the field, which is, of course, what Denver has had to do so far. But I'm sure Brian is thinking nothing but touchdown right now.
Then on the other side of the field, you mentioned John Perella's Hussa tackle that saved a touchdown early, or the veteran from Nebraska who was a Cornhusker Hall of Famer in the offseason. And, of course, last year his father, they owned a couple of car dealerships back in Grand Island, Nebraska. His father was murdered. They still haven't found any clues to why that all happened, and played with a heavy heart all last year. But he is the real interior spirit of this San Diego team. First down. Greasy. Good protection. To the end zone. Touchdown, Desmond Clark. Well thrown by Greasy. They beat Rodney Harrison's replacement, Jason Perry.
Yeah, Perry gets locked up on single coverage on Clark. And Brian Greasy just throws an absolute strike. This was Kurt Schilling putting one on the outside corner. What a throw by Brian Greasy. And finally, Denver, who's had a number of good drives this game, finally has a drive end up with a touchdown.
18-yard scoring pass. Greasy's 16th TD throw of the year as Elam adds the extra point, and the Bronco fans celebrate a 13-0 lead. It was Clark's third touchdown catch of the season. And another Charger being wheeled off the field as Alex Molden, a former starting cornerback, is hurt.
Watch this throw by Brian Greasy. I mean, that is just perfect. Yeah, Clark made a good run at a pattern. He got the contact with Perry, broke to the outside, but look at him just drop that in on the outstretched palms of Desmond Clark. Boy, that is a difficult throw. Just look at that. Perfection.
And Brian Greasy, his dad, Bob, is here enjoying his son's performance.
I was asking Bob before the game. I said, Bob, is it getting any easier? Because I know how I am whenever I watch any of my kids do something athletically. My stomach just grinds away. You know, we're talking about maybe some high school basketball or something. Watching your son play quarterback in the NFL, I don't know how Bob Greasy doesn't have ulcers, but yet he said, you know what, I have so much confidence in him. He's in command of what he's doing. I'm getting a lot better.
Now, with all the injuries, San Diego trailing 13-0. They have 2 timeouts in 67 seconds, but their kick return tandem, 2 men who haven't returned a kick this year, Trevor Gaylor and Reggie Jones, are back. As Fletcher, Tim Dwight, and Ronnie Jenkins, their top 3 return men, are all injured.
Well, you know it's tough enough coming to Denver, playing in one of the most hostile home field advantages in all of sport. And it's tough enough, much less without having all the physical problems that San Diego's had.
Reggie Jones doesn't make it to the 20-yard line. Good coverage again with veteran Lee Woodall, the former 49er, there on the hit. Coming up on the Nextel halftime report, Jim, Mike, Randy, Jerry have all the action, all the scores, all the news for you, plus a CBS News Update, America Fights Back. Now, let's see what Doug Flutie can do with a minute 3 seconds remaining in the half. Is Greasy already doing his homework for the next time?
Yeah, this is a tough call for an offensive coordinator. Norv, I'm sure, is, you know, do you take chances and maybe get a score here in the last minute and 3 seconds? You sure don't want to make a mistake and turn it over in your own end of the field. Tomlinson and the rookie, it's a little more conservative.
Gain of 1. He has 51 yards rushing in the half. Kavika Pittman in on the stops. That Flutie hurrying them along. There's Norv Turner, 7 years the head coach at Washington, joined the Chargers this year. Flutie, the quick throw outside, incomplete. Curtis Conway was the intended target.
Now, to me, Dick, that's a pattern. What's the use in throwing that football? That's a pass that, if it goes awry just a little bit, can be intercepted and run back for a touchdown. What good is a 4-yard pickup going to do you? To me, that's a lot of risk with very little reward.
Stops the clock. 40 seconds left. 3rd and 9. Turner, who likes to use a lot of play action so that his receivers can get deep. Out of the shotgun, Flutie, 4 wide receivers.
He didn't get that off. And there's the flag. This play is not happening.
Deltha O'Neal came in on a corner blitz, but delay of game against the Chargers.
Delay. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
4 seconds back on the clock.
Well, we finally got a penalty. And wouldn't you know, it'd be something silly like delay of game. That's the first time we've seen Bill Carollo all day. I like that.
I do too. Well, and it's been a well-played, hard-hitting, clean game.
First penalty of the game right there, a 5-yarder.
So 3rd and 15, the challenge for Flutie, deep in his own end at the 15-yard line. Widespread defense. Flutie throws underneath. Intercepted. It's John Mobley to the 3-yard line.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Tomlinson saved the touchdown, but the worst of fears for San Diego as the Broncos take advantage of a Flutie throw.
I mean, you got to be either fish or foul, Dick. Are you really going to make a real attempt to go down the field and get some points, or are you just killing time? Doug threw it way behind Tomlinson. Tomlinson was open, but Doug delivers a football way behind, right to John Mobley. But you either got to make a wholehearted attempt to go down the field and get some points, or just sit on the ball and run out the clock. San Diego seemed to be caught in that no man's land where they were doing neither one, and now they're liable to pay big time for it.
No timeout for Greasy, so he's going to throw, and he gets a quick touchdown to Dwayne Carswell. Oh, my. The injury suffered by San Diego in this first half, difficult enough to digest, but then this horrendous finish of the half.
Either kneel on the ball 3 times. Denver has no timeouts. They couldn't have stopped the clock. If you're content to go in down 13-0, then just run out the clock and go. Or try to make something happen downfield to get down into scoring position. But the Chargers just kind of, I can't tell what they were doing. They didn't seem to be in a hurry to go anywhere, and they made the big mistake that has broken their back.
You almost wonder, Dan, with Flutie suffering the concussion last week, even though he said he felt well since Wednesday, if the decision-making is as sharp as it normally would be.
Well, that's speculative. You raise a point, Dick, that he did have the concussion last week. Regardless, it was a monstrous mistake that Denver, like all good football teams, made them pay for and made them pay quick. Well, Doug knows, yeah, that's on my shoulders.
He had a rough first half against Kansas City last week, and then after the concussion, Drew Brees, the rookie from Purdue, came on and led the Chargers to 4 scoring drives and a 2019 lead. But Chiefs were able to win it in the final minutes of the 4th quarter. So Flutie,
although we've seen Doug throw the ball well, you know, he threw a perfect strike downfield that would have been a good 30-yard game, but Graham dropped it. We saw him throw another strike that was mishandled. So, but 5 of 13, you got to look at that. And Mike Riley, I'm sure when he goes into halftime, man, we're not trying to stir the quarterback pot, but
we'll see. Reggie Jones with the kickoff, and he's met at the 20-yard line and embraces the ball. With 22 seconds remaining in the half, Lee Woodall another tackle on special teams. And looking ahead to next Sunday, beginning at noon Eastern, NFL on CBS features regional excitement. Jets take on the Dolphins, Colts meet the Saints, or these Chargers will meet the first-place Raiders. Check your local listings, beginning with Jim, Jerry, Randy, Mike, Marcus, Leslie, and Dion on the NFL Today. And what a job Marcus Allen did you on NFL Today. His interview with Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders, that was terrific. I hated for it to end. Terrific stuff. Tomlinson on the draw, picking up a lot of cosmetic yardage here at the end of the half, out to the 43-yard line with 15 seconds left, and San Diego will spend a timeout. 20-0 Broncos. 2 greasy touchdowns here late in the first half, give him 50 for the year. As Mike Riley looks on, Greasy, the quickest of any Denver quarterback ever, and that includes John Elway, to 50 touchdown passes. Meanwhile, Tomlinson, with that last run of 22, the rookie has 73 yards in the first half for San Diego, and he is the receiver of the Flutie pass, looking for running room, and he's gathered up by 3 Broncos at the 48-yard line.
I'll say this about Brian Greasy. He inherited a little better football team than John Elway did when John Elway came here in 1983.
That's for certain.
Well, we have seen just so many injuries for San Diego. It's like a triage unit in their locker room, I suspect. Rodney Harrison ends up leaving. Of course, he's their leading tackler, and along with Junior Seau, one of their defensive leaders. There goes Terrell Fletcher. And Ronnie Jenkins also has to go in with getting his neck twisted around. That's Alex Molden as he goes in on the cart.
That's just before we know. Jeff Graham has been limping. Freddie Jones came into the game with a bad ankle. Tomlinson has run remarkably well, considering he was in a boot to protect his sprained ankle Thursday and didn't practice all the early week. There are the known injuries.
Well, Doug's either got to run the fastest 15-yard sideline pattern that's ever been run in 7 seconds, or he's got to launch one to the end zone. I'm suspecting that this thing's headed for the end zone.
They go triple right. Now he's got to throw the ball 55 yards. He does. Into the crowd and tipped away incomplete. And that is the end of the first half. The Denver Broncos taking advantage of a superior defense today, and the pressure late in the second quarter to pounce on an interception that led to a 20-0 lead.
Well, you hope that somebody gets up and on the carom that it bounces to somebody, but that only happens if you're a Chicago Bear.
Apparently, Kanoy Kennedy was the man, number 28, who knocked it away. Bonnie?
All right, Mike Riley's team down 20-0. What have the Broncos done to try to keep Flutie in check?
Well, you know what? We just haven't converted enough third downs. And the other thing is our defense hasn't gotten them off the field, so we've got no rhythm on offense, Bonnie.
All right, Coach, thanks.
A likable Mike Riley, who played his football at Alabama for Bear Bryant, left-handed quarterback, but he was quickly a defensive back when Bear saw him throw, as he admits. And that is the end of the first 30 minutes here in Denver, with the Broncos leading 20-0.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Direct Connect Halftime Report. Nextel, get right through.
Yes, indeed, they had reached halftime in the Mile High City, but we welcome you to Manhattan. Jim Nance with the Nextel Halftime Report with Mike Dicker, Randy Cross, Jerry Glanville, and you are watching this game. 20-0 at halftime. Tell me about it there, Jerry.
Well, remember we used to always say one thing, the Chargers defense showed up. They looked tired, and they look like this is their third defensive coordinator of the season. You can't keep putting in new people trying to run the defense. It's going the wrong direction and getting worse every week.
It's amazing. Let's get everybody updated on the NFL today. Other games right now include the Eagles. McNabb twice to thrash for touchdowns. He's run for another, just blowing out the Vikings. The Giants were up 14 on the Cardinals, and then Boston hauled in a 38-yard pass from Plummer. Boston, big number, 7-119 and a touch. Saints down now 10 to the 49ers. Garcia throws 3 touchdowns in his first 14 attempts, 2 to Terrell Owens. Earlier today, Miami won again at Indianapolis. Manning is 0-4 at home against the Dolphins in his career.
Well, he had a big game today, but we talked about the difference in his football game would be their defense. Their defense just didn't stand up to the game. Jay Fiedler hit Chris Chambers here for the second touchdown. This is the second touchdown of the game, and Miami pulled out 27-24.
How about Antoine Smith for the Patriots?
Well, he ran for 1,100 yards in 1998 for the Buffalo Bills, and he gave him a little payback today, rushing for 100 yards. As a team, New England only had 205, and they still found a way to win.
Well, here's the running back for you. Watch this. Curtis Martin, offensive line, dominated the game. There he is in for another touchdown.
I think the best thing about Coach Edwards is that he's poised. You know, he's the same man day in and day out, and that's what he teaches us as players and as men. You know, he's more concerned about us not only on the field, he's also concerned about our lives outside football. So he's a great man, and we love playing for him.
Jets at Miami next week. Chris Brown, the hero today, unlike last week.
5 out of 6 field goals today, Jim, and he was only 1 out of 4 last week.
Won it in overtime.
I just feel really good right now to be able to, you know, help this team win, especially after last week. And I was really disappointed. Obviously, you know, lost the game for us and was able to come out this week and do some things for us.
And the Jags, big second half.
They trailed 13-7 to Cincinnati. It was Smith, it was McCardell, it was Cedric Mack.
Boom.
Nice lead block.
Ooh, baby.
And the Jags 23-0 in the second half came back. Makes you feel good even if you are 3-5.
Eighth straight year, Packers win at Soldier Field.
Too much Brett Favre. They gave him all day to throw the football. You give Brett Favre all day to throw, he's going to be.
What is this rivalry about? It's so intense. Is it that way on the field?
It is so intense. I mean, people don't understand it, but coming down here with the Bears in first place, it hasn't been like that for years around here. And we had to come up and meet the challenge and win the ball game. And congratulations to Coach Sherman. Big win for him. And we can go back to Green Bay with the division lead.
Lions 0-8, worst record since 42.
Okay, Gramatica came in for a Gramatica finish.
Yeah.
With 4 seconds, 35-yard field goal.
You gotta love it.
Good, smallest guy in the field.
And the Rams blew out Carolina. Marshall Faulk entered the field today carrying the American flag. I'm going to steal this line from you, Jerry. He could have carried it all day long and had 183 yards. His backup, Chung Candidate, almost outgained Carolina with 145 yards rushing.
Doug Johnson comes in for Michael Vick and wins it for the Falcons.
Yeah, they played a couple of quarterbacks, but really the guy that won it was a running back for the Falcons, Maurice Smith.
Maurice Smith, he was over 100 yards.
And he had the toughness. The game was close, and anybody could have won, and Maurice Smith just took over.
All right, Coach. CBS News is next with John Roberts. America Fights Back. Thanks for being with us on the Nextel Halftime Report.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Direct Connect Halftime Report. Nextel, get right through.